What is going on, guys? You were watching Mr. Mike's Gun Rack. Today I wanted to put together a video talking about spare parts for the AR-15, things that you need to keep on hand if you're serious about this, and if you shoot a lot like me. This could apply to an AK or whatever flavor rifle you have. With the AR, it's a little bit easier to keep spare parts on hand, not only because of availability, but also because things drop right in. I know that a bolt on one AK might not headspace correctly on another AK, and certain parts might require fitting. So, that being said, this is geared towards the AR-15. You can take from it what you will if you have a different weapon. First and foremost, I think the most important thing that you should keep on your AR-15, and I keep mine in the grip. And I've seen a lot of people do goofy things. They'll stick batteries in there, which isn't a dumb idea, but like the 3 bullets, I think that's pretty stupid. They'll keep that in the grip. You can keep whatever you want in there, but I think probably the most useful thing you could keep in there would be a spare bolt. 99% of what's going to go wrong with your AR-15 all of a sudden is going to be basically revolving around this bolt. You can have extractors fail, you can have extractor springs fail, you can have gas rings fail, you can have literally the lugs on the bolt shear off. So just having a complete ready to go, drop it in and go unit can save you a lot of headache at the range. If you guys are like me, you have to drive to get to where you're going to shoot. And usually it's kind of a big deal. Requires some planning, some forethought to go out to the range. So it's good to have these spare parts so you don't ruin your day at the range or ruin a class that you spent money on. So a spare bolt, simple, good to go. Make sure it works in your gun, pull it back out, stick it in your grip. And that'll solve 99% of your issues. You want to go a little step further, I put together this kit. Now this has got Glock stuff in it too, because that's my primary handgun. Extractors and springs and strikers and that sort of thing. Trigger components. But basically what I did is I put together a lot of parts. I got a lot of small parts. I think I got a complete lower parts kit in here, which you don't need, but a lot of things that you could possibly lose. These are great. These are basically bolt rebuild kits. They got gas rings and extractor springs, and you can get these everywhere. A lot of companies make them. I recommend buying a BCM kit if you can, because it's going to give you the highest quality parts. You don't need to be putting junk parts back in. There's a lot of cheap ones of these out here. Matter of fact, I think this one is actually a cheap one, and I can tell by that extractor spring right there. If you compare that to the extractor spring I got in the gun, it's about half the size. So this is just a cheap one, but it might be enough to get you through. So that's a good thing to keep in hand. Other thing would be a good hammer spring. Mine's actually missing out of this kit because a buddy of mine's gun, he was getting light strikes. We pulled out and put a hammer in it, a new hammer spring in it, and solved all the issues. So another good thing to keep on hand is spare screws. If you got Magpul stuff, M-LOK stuff, whatever that is, spare screws can help you out a lot. So that's just a simple little kit that I put together. Now, of course, optics going dead, that can always be an issue. So batteries are always a good thing for your lights and your optics, whatever that may be. I don't have to worry about that with this scope. It's always on, it's always bright. But with my lights and stuff, I do. So if you're going to keep one tool for your AR-15, I like this Leatherman Mutt a lot. I'm sure there's other tools that do a lot of the same things that this does, but you keep a bit kit, a Leatherman bit kit with this, and you pretty much got a tool that'll get you out of most whatever you need, in the field with an AR-15. It's got a hammer on it. I've used that in conjunction with the punch that unscrews and comes off to get hammer pins out and that sort of thing. You can swap the AR-15 size pin punch out for a Glock size pin punch, and you can use them for both. I've used this on AR-15 pins. It's just a great tool to have for your AR-15. Another good thing to keep along with you, and this wasn't really meant to be like a range bag video. I'm not going to cover half of what I bring with me to the range, but oil, obviously lubrication. You don't need to clean these like nearly as much as you need to lubricate them. These guns will run dirty just fine, assuming they're wet. Another example of that is my buddy had a 300 Blackout that he just built, and he had ran it, put about 1,000 rounds through it, and then he decided he was going to swap the barrel out for a shorter barrel. We were getting reliability issues. The gun wasn't feeding properly, wasn't ejecting properly. Well, neither one of us happened to have any oil that day with us, so we pulled the dipstick out of his car, and we started wiping the oil off the dipstick and applying it to the bolt. After that, the gun ran great. So, small bottle of oil, doesn't have to be anything fancy. I use motor oil exclusively for lubricating my AR-15s, and it works great. So one last thing I'd like to talk about is your buffer spring. Now, this is an old buffer spring, came out of something else, but you get these good chrome silicon buffer springs, tacticalsprings.com. These are Springco springs. This is a standard power, meaning it's going to be the same power as a factory spring. The difference is you'll get millions of cycles out of one of these springs, where I've heard that the buffer spring in an AR-15, a standard mil-spec buffer spring, anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 rounds it wears out. I don't really know what that actual number is, but they do wear out after a while, and so keeping an extra buffer spring on hand is good. I recommend upgrading, spending the $20 on this spring versus the $10 or whatever it is on a mil-spec spring. The difference is this spring, not only is it a lot quieter and a lot smoother, you don't get that twang noise, it's going to be last you a lot longer. So anyways, guys, that's my video. Thanks for watching. Hope it gave you guys some ideas on what you might want to keep with your AR-15. At the very least, at home, a spare box of parts is good to have. I got enough parts sitting around right now that I could build a whole nother AR-15 if I wanted to, but in general, I keep a lot of spare parts. I keep a small box of parts in the range bag with me, and I keep a bolt. So that's my video. Thanks for watching. Thanks, guys. Bye.